Hi, ever wonder what it's like to work another profession or live in the underworld? Listen to unsuspecting riders give a 10 to 15 minute personal masterclass as I spontaneously interview them as they enter my taxi. I'm your host, Simon Rushton, and this is Taxi Chronicles. Morning. Yes, we're back with another rider, another episode. Today we have a guy all the ways well-travelled, really. He's in London. He's lived in New York, and his parents are Russian. And I actually thought he was Oriental, but he pointed out that he's not, so my mistake there. But he's going to tell us about his life living in boarding schools, because I found it quite strange. So here you are. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
So tell us, what was life like in boarding schools for you?
Boarding school was definitely a transition from being in state school, like in the middle of New York. It was much more, a lot of posh people, a lot of people that didn't really know anything about like any other place in the world, but just, being in this kind of microcosm of like kind of elite people. And it was definitely an adjustment to be able to actually talk to them on something that they, had no idea about. And when you're just shoved into a boarding house of like 70 boys, and you guys are all teenagers, going through puberty, shit gets a little crazy.
Okay. So how did it take you long to blend in, to become part of the...
It took me a while. It took me a few months. I mean, there was this crazy hierarchical structure. So like, the older kids would always, bully the younger kids and expect them to do things where, like in New York and in the States, it wasn't really like that in high school. People just kind of got along. So it took me a while to understand that kind of dynamic. But after that, it was pretty much, teenagers and kids are pretty much the same everywhere. They're kind of dumb and just trying to figure out their way.
How did you manage that, though? Because if someone is trying to bully somebody, normally you kind of fight back. Or you resist.
Yeah, that's true as well. I mean, I think it was a lot to do with the teachers as well. Like the teachers, they expected this whole traditional aspect. So even if you would, be getting bullied, you kind of just have to take... It wasn't really bullying, I would say. It was more just them expecting you to show them respect without having earned it.
Yeah.
And, just basically, like, I don't know, if they asked you to carry some books or get them a drink or something like that, you kind of just have to bite your tongue and move with it.
So once you got to a certain age, obviously you, the new kids who came in, did you treat them the same way, or?
No, I mean, I didn't really. I mean, obviously there was a certain level of just respect given to the older years anyway, but it definitely got toned down, especially because, once, the new generation started moving in, there was a lot of like anti-bullying culture at that point. So this whole traditional kind of lad behavior of boarding school dwindled a little bit. Yeah.
So, did you feel more comfortable when you was in the state school or the boarding school?
Both of them were pretty comfortable for me, I'd say. I mean, especially after a few months at boarding school. The only thing is that I feel like at state school, what was kind of glorified was not really knowing anything and kind of being, I don't know, lazy and not intellectual. Yeah, at least in the schools that I went to back in New York. I mean, they were pretty, they were like inner city, Manhattan. So it was pretty, like metal detectors and stuff.
That kind of school.
Yeah, and it was pretty. Yeah, it was glorified to just kind of be dumb and kind of slag off school and not like skip class and smoke and drink and do all this stuff. So I definitely think that if I stayed there, I might have gone down even a wrong path, you know what I mean? So
I see you're saying, so your parent, it was like a rescuing decision.
Kind of like a rescuing decision, yeah. I mean, I always was a very independent kid as well, so just like, it was kind of, my dad asked if I wanted to go because my stepbrother was actually coming to the same school. And I jumped at the opportunity. I thought it was going to be really cool to just live alone. And I think, you asked me before if I would ever send my kids to boarding school, and I definitely would. And not because of, I wouldn't want them around or that they were being bad kids or anything, but because I feel like it allows them to be with people that they might not necessarily get along with and find a common language. And then down the road, when they, get into the workforce and everything like that, it'll just make them more well-rounded people, able to handle people better.
It's funny you say that, because lots of people say people who have been to boarding school have no sense of reality.
Yeah, you know what, that's true, and I can actually see that from a lot of people that I went to school with, which is why I don't really have many friends from boarding school. I have one guy that I still talk to. But I definitely think it's a case-by-case basis. There are definitely kids that I know like that, but I think all of that kind of starts from home. So, I was always taught to treat everybody with complete respect, and obviously I grew up in very different walks of life and was just lucky enough, to be able to go to this boarding school. But that was already when I was 14, 15 years old, where, I kind of had grown up to an extent. But I definitely think that if you teach your kids right and you show them what, how lucky they are and things like that, then they'll definitely not be that classic, dumb jock boarding school type.
Okay. I hear you. So now you've gone on and you're into the economics.
Yeah, I did my bachelor's in econ, and my master's now is investment and wealth management, which is finance. So yeah.
Do you so you're an advocate, just to confirm, so you're an advocate for private education then?
Yeah, I'm an advocate for private education. I think that if you have the ability to send your kid to school like that, then you most certainly should, but that doesn't mean that people should miss out if they can't necessarily pay for it. It's a complicated topic, which I don't think we have enough time for. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for that. It's very interesting. One last question I'm going to ask you is what I ask everybody. Two quick questions. One is, what did you learn in boarding school that you wish you knew before getting in there?
Oof, that's a complicated. I think that family is more important. I think what I learned is family is more important than you would kind of give it credit for when you're a teenager.
Okay. And the other question is, what's the impact you want to have in the world?
I want to make the world a better place. Just, I think that there's a lot of hatred and bigotry going on right now, especially in my home country, and everybody's really divided. And I think that if we can just make people a little bit more understanding and people a little bit more compassionate, then we're all in this life together on this crazy journey. So there's no point in putting anybody else down.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that.
Thanks a lot, man.
Much appreciated.
Cheers.
And I wish you well.
Thank you so much. I gave you a follow on your Instagram page.
Okay.
We hope you liked that interview. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to get the latest daily episode. Ever considered investing in the continent with the fastest growing economy and population on Earth? The same continent that holds 30% of the world's known natural resources? Then listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where you will hear real investors with real stories from around the world share their experience of investing in Africa. We post Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m.